Back in the old days, I was an engineer. I trained as an engineer with the Royal Ordnance, and I was used to making things that made rockets and guns and that type of thing. In fact, this thing over my shoulder here on the shelf, you can just about see it. Looks like some sort of fancy egg timer. It's a rocket motor. It's dead. Nothing in it. It's not a real one. It's a dummy one. It's a rocket motor off a surface-to-air missile. These are sort of things that I was involved with. As my career progressed, however, and my role moved into more commercial aspects, into sales and customer relations and contract management, operations management, that type of thing. And the one thing I really struggled with back in the old days was selling, getting in front of somebody and selling them something. A product, it could be a plastic bag, a cardboard box, or anything from aviation services. In my career, I've sold all sorts of things. And when I first started out, I felt very uncomfortable doing it. And I was given a trick that I picked up from a seasoned campaigner back in the day when he would have been a coach and mentor now. Bless him, he's not around anymore. And he said the thing that he did was he would go into a meeting, a sales meeting or a presentation or something like that, something he felt uncomfortable about, and he had a lucky, as he called it, a lucky tie he used to wear. And he would wear this tie, and that he called it his shield. It was his shield, his defense. While he got the tie on, it enabled him to go into the role of sales or presenter, and if like stand outside of himself and do the job he had to do, but it wasn't him, it was him performing a role. And I thought that could be very helpful. So what I did, and I still do sometimes, but not so much. I've still got used to it now. I wear quite a chunky watch. Now, normally, because I'm right-handed, I'll wear my watch on my left wrist. When I go to what was a sales meeting back in the day, I would wear my watch on my right wrist because it felt unusual, like an anchor, and it is now referenced as anchoring. But when I have my watch on my right wrist, I would do my preparation for the sales meeting, watch video, read a book, get myself ready, go through the process, the script, and then the approach. And then when I wore my watch on my right wrist, two things happened. One, it enabled me to go into the role of a salesman, and also it enabled me to release all the training and knowledge and script and everything else that I'd gone through. This was like a trigger point. So that was my reference point, a trigger. And that can be really helpful for people going into situations where they're not particularly comfortable. And recently, one of my clients in Luxembourg, we were discussing the same sort of thing. And I mentioned to her that this was something I used to use and it might be helpful for her. And without going into all the details, but she gets some quite sort of traumatic stories told to her as part of her business and part of her role. And sometimes she has to let them go as well, let them go. So what she does, I thought it was an interesting take on it. She does wear a watch on her opposite wrist, on her right wrist. When she's finished the meeting, if she needs to, it doesn't happen every meeting, if she has a particularly tough engagement with a supplier or something like that, then what she does, she takes the watch off, and that allows her to go back into serenity mode. But also what she does, interestingly, she washes the watch. She washes the watch strap, and that physical act of washing takes away any negativity, any stress, and anything she doesn't want to be, associated with. So that was an interesting amplification of the role of an anchor and a reference point. So for all of us, if you have something stressful you're going to do, whether it's a sales meeting or a presentation, consider having for yourself, a comfort blanket, the knotted hanky, a reference anchor or something like that. It could be a watch, it could be a scarf, it could be earrings, it could be a favorite pair of socks, all that sort of thing, whatever it is. Have a reference point that puts you into the condition or the state that you can then perform your best on stage in front of people, even if it's slightly uncomfortable. And if it's a real tough one, when you get off stage, you can wash them away as well if you really need to. So that was an interesting take on it, on anchoring and getting prepared to go to these different sort of meetings and different sort of discussions. Try it out, see how you get on.